All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Look around right now in 2026, and you just can't deny it. We are living right in the middle of the NVIDIA AI bubble. Literally billions of dollars are being poured into securing computing power. But if the long cyclical history of tech tells us anything, it's that the absolute biggest winners of this revolution haven't even fully taken the stage yet. So today, we're going to decode exactly what the source material says happens after this NVIDIA bubble inevitably pops. Here's our roadmap. We'll kick things off with a pretty striking historical parallel between Cisco and NVIDIA. Then we'll get into the immediate aftermath, the rise of AI agents, and the massive expansion into physical and vertical AI. From there, we'll look at the hardware shift threatening today's leaders, and finally, we'll reveal the ultimate post-bubble victor. Let's get into it. Section 1, the Cisco and NVIDIA parallel. Because, history doesn't always repeat, but it definitely rhymes. To truly understand what happens after NVIDIA's reign, we actually need to rewind the clock all the way back to the year 2000. During the dot-com boom, Cisco was the undisputed king, right? They were building the literal plumbing of the internet. But after that bubble burst, all that infrastructure gave way to entirely new ecosystems. Think Web 2.0 social networks, the whole smartphone era, and the massive cloud computing giants. Fast forward to 2026, and NVIDIA is playing that exact same role. They're laying the plumbing for what comes next: AI agents, physical AI, and highly specialized vertical AI. You see, tech history always flows in this super predictable three-step direction. First comes the infrastructure, deploying massive capital just to build the plumbing. Then come the platforms that organize all that raw power. And finally, we hit the application layer. We're currently shifting out of phase one. That obsession with simply hoarding computing power, it's ending. The focus is violently shifting toward generating real-world revenue. So, Section 2, the rise of AI agents. Welcome to the new SaaS era. This is our first major pillar of the post-NVIDIA world. And we need to be really clear on definitions here, because this is a massive leap. We aren't just talking about early generative AI where you type a prompt and get a summary. Scratch that. Agentic AI refers to systems that autonomously plan, operate tools, and complete full, multi-step workflows. It's basically the equivalent of how Salesforce totally revolutionized business processes after the dot-com crash, but on a much grander scale. We're talking about actual digital labor. Okay, so here's how the battlefield actually looks right now. We can break the AI agent market down into three distinct columns. On the left, you've got the megatech companies providing the brains: OpenAI with their reasoning models, Anthropic with their computer use capabilities that can literally take over a screen, and Microsoft laying down the enterprise foundations. Now, in the middle column, we have vertical integration. These are startups providing specialized labor. Think Elise AI completely automating property management and hospital back offices, or Cognition building autonomous software engineers. And then on the right, the platforms. Companies like Rasa and Crew AI, providing the picks and shovels so businesses can build their own secure, hallucination-free agents. But the absolutely crucial point here is this paradigm shift. They are selling labor itself. If you're wondering why startups in this space are scaling faster than traditional software companies ever did, well, it's because they aren't just selling a tool to make your human employees faster. They are selling you the employee. When you hire an AI agent to fix code bugs or manage compliance, you're literally buying a digital worker. Section 3, physical and vertical AI. This is where AI officially steps into the real world. This is the moment AI officially breaks out of the web browser. Remember when the internet suddenly jumped out of our clunky desktop monitors and into our pockets? Physical AI is the mobile equivalent of the AI era. Companies like Tesla are already monetizing this through full self-driving and their Optimus robots. Meanwhile, startups like Figure are building universal brains designed to slot into any hardware. They're giving the raw reasoning power of an AI agent actual hands and wheels. But it's not just physical hardware. AI is aggressively conquering specific, highly regulated industries too. Back during the early internet, we watched these massive vertical monopolies form, right? Amazon completely locked down retail, Netflix dominated entertainment. Today, we're seeing the rise of vertical AI dominators. Take a look at a company like Variance, which is locking down the incredibly complex world of legal compliance and risk management, or Palantir, which is heavily integrating AI into defense, infrastructure, and global supply chains. They're taking incredibly specialized industry data, combining it with AI, and building insurmountable moats. Moving on to Section 4, the custom chip revolution, the great hardware shift. Now, we have to ask a bit of a contrarian question. What could possibly threaten NVIDIA's absolute dominance right now? Well, the source analysis suggests the answer lies in the past. Remember, Cisco lost its crown when cheap, custom chips replaced standard routers. In 2026, history is repeating. Once infrastructure becomes standardized, the market always abandons expensive, general-purpose hardware for highly specialized, purpose-built alternatives. And here is the magic number driving this massive shift. 65%. That is the potential cost reduction we are looking at. Custom AI chips, known as ASICs, like Google's TPU, are rapidly replacing generic NVIDIA GPUs. Think of a generic GPU like a really expensive Swiss Army knife, while an ASIC is a highly specialized scalpel. They do one specific task flawlessly, which makes them vastly cheaper to run at scale. Let's be real, when you're deploying millions of AI agents, a 65% cost reduction is literally the difference between thriving and going bankrupt. Which brings us to Section 5, why Apple wins it all, the ultimate post-bubble victor. Now, we are impartially reporting the source's analysis here on which mega corporation is perfectly positioned to capture the value of this bubble. According to the text, Apple's post-bubble dominance boils down to 3 distinct steps: interface monopoly, on-device processing, and physical world expansion. Let's start with the first one. No matter how incredible a startup's new AI agent is, to actually reach a consumer, it has to pass through a smartphone screen. By natively integrating AI into billions of iPhones and Macs, Apple essentially becomes the mandatory toll booth. They are perfectly positioned to collect a fee from practically every AI transaction. Move on to step 2, and this is where the business model gets really incredible. While everyone else is out there burning billions on electricity and server costs in these massive data centers, Apple has Apple Silicon. Because their custom chips are so powerful, they can run a huge percentage of daily AI agent processing locally, directly on the user's iPhone or Mac. That means Apple just completely bypasses the crippling cloud computing costs that are burdening all their competitors. Plus, it provides unmatched privacy, security, and 24/7 availability for the user, all while costing Apple virtually zero in server upkeep. It's brilliant. And advantage number 3 is their physical world expansion. As we eventually move past the smartphone era, AI agents are going to need to see what we see. And Apple is already building the physical hardware ecosystem to support this, diving into spatial computing with devices like the Apple Vision Pro and integrating next-generation smart glasses. They're actively creating a world where your AI agent is seamlessly integrated into your field of view, constantly recognizing your physical environment and anticipating your needs before you even ask. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to remember this absolutely timeless rule of tech history. Infrastructure builds the era, but interfaces win the war. Cisco and NVIDIA, they create the bubble by building the plumbing. But the companies that emerge victorious from the wreckage are always the ones that own the connection to the everyday user. I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Infrastructure builds the future, for sure, but who holds the keys to the user's wallet? As we sit back and watch the explosive advancements in AI agents, robots, and custom chips over the next few years, don't get blinded by the hype of the plumbing. Keep your eyes firmly on the interface, because history tells us that is exactly where the real revolution is won. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.